everybody, and welcome back to FunAhead TV. Thank you so much for joining. Today we pick up where we left off in the last video, where we prepared for all sorts of springtime projects. Radiator swap to the nicer, much higher cooling capacity CSF radiators. We are in the process of the two-wheel drive conversion, and we took the transmission out so that we can eventually dig into the transmission to replace the second gear synchros and maybe anything else that it might need while we're in there. So with that being said, the time has come. It is time to dig into the transmission. Am I nervous? Absolutely, because this is very uncharted territory for me, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what we find. And above all else, I'm excited to improve this car, to just keep it running that much better for many more years to come by rejuvenating these now 22-year-old 106-ish thousand mile second gear synchros. Anyway, with that, I will shut up and we will get right to it. Today, we are taking apart the transmission. Here we are back in the workshop area. I got the transmission setting up on my workbench here. I just want to go ahead and give everyone a little bit of a tour of the transmission before we get into it. Now, of course, here are the CV shaft outputs, the transaxle output. And here's the output shaft for the front differential. Of course, this is what's unique to the Carrera 4. On the Carrera 2, this structure of the nose cone is here, but it's capped off. So that's kind of one unique consideration about the 4. We just need to take care of this little flange here to take that off. We'll go over that in a minute. This is the other side of the transmission. This would be the passenger side if you're in America and you drive on the left side. You can see we've got the bracket here that holds the shifter cables. Those shifter cables then are connected by these little ball joints here to each of the controllers for the transmission. So this particular lever is what you control when you move the shifter left to right. It's either in the center or it's in the center for the 3-4 gears. It's in the left for the 1-2 or the right for the 5-6. That's what this controls. This lever here, this big one, moves the forks up and down to then control whether it's in the front set of gears or the rear set of gears. So gear 1 versus gear 2, 3 versus 4, 5 versus 6. We are going to see, as we, of course, take apart this transmission, how these actually work and what these actually actuate once we get inside here. From what I understand, and again, this is very uncharted territory for me, I've never taken apart a transmission in my life, but I've gone through several forums to look at what needs to be done. You know, I know what to expect once we get inside of it, what it looks like, and then I've only found articles on the Carrera 2. So this, of course, being the Carrera 4, I think I know what I'm doing. We'll just have to pop this flange off. I think once we take this bolt off here, it should just come right off. Aside from this flange being here and this not being a cap, the transmission should effectively be the same thing. So in order to get inside of it, of course, take this flange off, which will be done with a 30mm deep socket. Boom. And then there are a lot of 13mm head bolts up and around this nose cone here to eventually be able to get this nose cone off. Then we will have to take this out, which this holds in place a spring and which compresses down a pin, which gives you the resistance for when you move this lever. This spring is the actual spring tension that you feel, or the resistance that you feel, that locks the transmission into gear. But I guess because this is a pin, it's on this side of the cone, of course, connecting itself to internals just below here, we need to take that off so that the nose cone can come off. Hi. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me all right. To give you guys, to kind of reorient you guys now that we've got the transmission facing upright, this is the bottom side of the transmission right here. Of course, the front of the car, back of the car, engine side. So first, what I'm going to do is attempt to take this flange off. Okay, so good news. That came off surprisingly easy. Right away, I just realized just like with axle bolts, what I usually do when I don't know the exact torque of them, I will mark with a Sharpie where they were, the orientation of the bolt, and I forgot to do that. And actually, it looks like it just tightens up against the shaft, so I don't think it matters for this bolt the same way it does an axle bolt, of course, when you're holding like a wheel bearing assembly together. So in this case, it's just holding this flange up against this shaft. Now it's time to go around and just take these 13 mils out. Now, these are all the same length, but of course when you're taking something apart that has a lot of, fasteners, just check and make sure that one of them's not different or something, because obviously, as we saw with the transmission bell housing bolts, there's a lot of different fasteners, different sizes, different threads, heads. We have this loosened now, so what we need to do is now take off the spring and pin that I was referring to earlier. There. I think this only slots in one way. I can see the slot in there, so we'll remember for reassembly, this slots in vertically like that, and then I don't think it probably won't go in all the way if you don't have it slotted on the arm in there. This entire mating surface here is held together by some kind of Loctite. Unfortunately, I don't see any great pry points. Oh, there's one. Oh yeah, there is kind of one over here. I think what I'm going to do is throw you guys on a quick time lapse as I take this apart. We did the hard part together as far as the procedural stuff. Check it out. I've got the nose cone sitting here. It's sitting on its side because I want to keep this little roller in place. I've heard, yep, there it goes. It can come out, and that's something that can be easily dropped down into the transmission. I had a little bit of a hold up, so this roller slots into this little guy right here. This was actually keeping everything in place, so I kind of had to, wiggle the nose cone so that this roller could get up and around this. So I know what you're thinking now. David, how's it look? How does everything look? The answer to that question is I don't freaking know. What I'm looking at here is, what I was expecting to see, I suppose, as I was, after doing my research online a little bit, what little there is to find online, rather. Yeah, so the engine drives this shaft right here, and then from there, of course, you have whatever gear ratio that you're currently in, and then that changes the speed of this shaft, which is your output shaft. That goes down and drives your differential. And of course, at the same time, if you have the Carrera 4, this is being your output shaft, it is splined for the flange here to then go up and run your front differential. Now overall, I would say these gears look pretty good. I don't see anything that's bad. This is second gear here. So, and when we kind of zoom in and look at this, you can see that these teeth on there, that's where the synchro is. They're a little rounded off. And the synchro kind of goes down and meshes with these teeth. And then, the more rounded out these get, the harder it is for the gear to then be slotted into place. Yeah, so you can see more wear on that gear there. Here's the magnet. This is here to catch metal debris. This has a little bit more debris on it than I would, like to see. I'd like to see no debris, but also, this huge magnet is here for a reason. I have no reason to believe that this transmission's ever been opened before, based on the fact that there were no tool marks on any of the bolts that we just took off. 106,000 miles, and this is this is all of the metal that's ever come off gears. I think that's probably pretty normal. I don't see any reason to be concerned with that. Plus, of course, the fact that there's no chunks. It's all just dust. Pretty normal, I would say. If there were metal chunks stuck to that thing, then we'd have some grounds for concern, but there are none, so that's very nice to see. But we need to get this stack off in order to finally pull this gear here, and then decide whether we need to replace the synchro, which is up there, or if we need to replace the gear itself because of the teeth condition. There's so much I don't know what I don't know, and we're about to find out. So let's learn together. Okay, you guys, well, I think I'm going to stop there for this video. I think we've had enough fun for one day getting the nose cone off of the transmission. I need to go back to the drawing board and do a little bit more reading up on what exactly I need to do to proceed, because right now I'm at a bit of a standstill as far as what I know how to do. And, you know, now we kind of get into the very technical part of everything that needs to be done. Eek. You know, we're there, you know, we've got all the gears exposed, hey, and now we just need to, what do we need to do? You know, we'll find out. But anyway, with that, thank you so much for tuning in to FunAhead TV. I hope you guys learned something, and please give this video a like if you found it helpful, and also please subscribe if you want to see what happens next. And on that note, once you do subscribe, I will see you guys next time when we continue this project and keep taking this thing down even further. Thank you so much for tuning in to FunAhead TV, and I'll see you later.